There, my mic's working. Can you say it again, Bard? Okay, it's not working. How about now?
I am Bard.
Okay, there we go. Sorry guys, first time, forgot to do some testing. I will have to, just one sec, let me actually fix this. Hold on guys, just bear with the 42 mess. I will always have something go wrong on the first one. Hold on, there it is, Bard's mic. One more time. you say hi again one more time? Why are you... That should be the right one. Now, one more time. Promise.
One more time.
There we go.
This is... right.
Sorry, guys. I need him on the right frequency, or I will mess everything else up. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
We are live now, is that correct?
Yes. We were live that whole time.
I am the Midnight Bard with 242, and we're here today to share stuff with you. I am what I am, she do what she do, so we'd like to say welcome to the crew. The cryptid crew.
What he said. It's
because, you know, we're talking about cryptids. So
yes, we are.
We're calling you the cryptid crew.
Welcome, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Shall we
that whole
call
time,
each of you by name?
They watched as I tried to fix things. I had to fix mic problems.
I would like to say hello to, I see Derringer, I see Fearsome, Ghost Inc., Hair-Raising Narratives, Matt Chats, PA Nightmares, Silver Threads, and The Boggs Official. Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today?
Hey everyone, and PA Nightmares as well. I don't know if you said that one.
It looks like Matt's Chats wants to test our knowledge to the fullest. I'm guessing that he, like I, is a Mothman fan.
Apparently. I am not the one with the knowledge. Bard did all the research on this one, so.
It's true.
No,
Is
Bitcoin. No, it's not cryptid. Which is why we actually didn't name it a certain way, otherwise people would have thought this was Bitcoins.
I was gonna say, cryptocurrency is what cryptids use whenever they're traveling abroad.
But now, that's why they can't use it very often. Hello, Patience! Welcome. I'm pretty
Hey,
sure
Patience.
she's in 2 live streams right now, because I know Raven is live at this moment too. But
Oh no.
he's on Dark Nest right now, so
Oh.
yeah. But I already talked to him about it. He's like, no, don't worry about it. You're good. So.
Okay, perfect. So, we're here to discuss the Mothman. Who's ready for that?
As long as he doesn't eat me. I mean, I'm really close to him. He might eat me.
As far as I know, he has not eaten any human beings. However, there is a report that he might have killed a dog.
I gotta keep him the hell away from Lulu then.
Yeah, really. I'm like, I can forgive anything, but killing a dog, that's too far. People, I might look the other way, but dogs, no. Under no circumstances. Cancel Mothman.
Ghosting says I was in 2 live streams too. LOL. And you know what? If I'm ever live with you, Bard, and I do not see Fearsome, or I'm at your live premiere and I don't see Fearsome, I know something's wrong. Fearsome's everywhere you are. It's
true. We're besties like that. She show up where I go. And somehow, whenever she's on a live stream, it's like I can sense it. Just like, yesterday during your morning live stream, I was like, wait, I've come here because my Bard senses say she's here.
I'm surprised that live stream went as long as it did. I'm happy Hair Razor was able to help me out on that. Thank you so much. You saved my butt. I can't do live streams by myself. Can't.
So Bog says that Mothman is just a guy in a trench coat flashing people who did not want to admit he enjoyed it, so he fabricated a monster. And according to one of the reports that I've read, that might not be very far from the truth.
Well, you can start wherever you want.
All right. Well, let's start with a small description of the Mothman, shall we?
Okay.
He is described as a humanoid. He has a wingspan of anywhere between 10 to 12 feet. He's anywhere between 6 to 10 feet tall. And it is said that he can fly up to 100 miles per hour, as reported in one police report where 2 couples were trying to get away from him as he was chasing after them in their car, and they sped up to 100 miles per hour, and he seemed to have zero difficulty keeping up with them. Small timeline of the Mothman here. We got first recorded incident was on the 12th of November in 1966, where two grave diggers were doing their job overnight, and they reported seeing a humanoid figure flying between the treetops near their cemetery. Followed by that was the 14th of November, where a man was at home watching TV when he saw two glowing red dots outside of his window. When he went to investigate, he saw a humanoid figure that he said was anywhere between 6 to 8 feet tall, standing out in his yard. He was terrified, but his dog actually chased after the creature, who took off flying into the sky, and the dog was never seen again.
Which is where we probably have the dog being eaten.
Oh, here we go. So on the 15th, the pair of couples that I had mentioned earlier, who were driving in the TNT area of Point Pleasant, Virginia, were driving out in this area, and they spotted a humanoid figure standing on the side of the road with what appeared to be a dead dog at its feet. So yeah, they speculate that this might have been the dog from the previous gentleman named Newell Partridge. And what happens is this creature starts giving chase to the car as they drive past. All of them are extremely terrified, so the guy driving keeps hitting the gas, and he reports that he got up to 100 miles per hour, and this thing was not letting up. So it just kept chasing after.
And to clarify to the people who do not live in America, that is 160 kilometers per hour.
160 kilometers per hour, yes.
Jeez.
We're using American measurements.
Yeah, what happened in America. I kind of have a brief idea of how fast that is in kilometers, but yeah, I just thought I looked it up real quick when you said it, just so I had clarification for myself.
Here's the thing, though. Mothman has not specifically been spotted only in America. He's actually made appearances all over the world.
Really? I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so check it out. Let's see. And this was something that I was going to get into a little later, but other sightings of the Mothman starting in September 1978 in Freiburg, Germany. A couple of mine workers were showing up to work at their local coal mine, and they spotted what appeared to be a man wearing a large trench coat, which gives credence to what Boggs said earlier. And basically, as they're approaching, this man, who was larger than normal, anywhere between 8 to 10 feet, they said, spreads its wings, showing that it wasn't a trench coat, but a pair of wings that were wrapped around himself, and screeches in what they describe as the sound of 50 men screaming at once. He's blocking the entrance to their coal mine, and they can't get in, so they just take off running because they're terrified at this point. The creature allegedly stuck around for a little bit, and then when it left, there was an explosion that took place inside of the mine, collapsing a lot of tunnels. And it was reported that if the workers had been inside of the mine, a lot of them would have been killed.
But none of them could get in. Wow.
None of them could get in. Yeah, so he didn't let that. He didn't let them in. The other one that I've noticed that was outside of the United States was in March of 2011. That was in Japan. And I don't know if y'all remember, but in 2011, there was that earthquake that happened off the northern shore of Japan that created a tsunami that followed after.
Yes.
So after that, there was, I think it was a couple of days or up to a week after, there was sightings of a flying humanoid outside of the Fukushima nuclear plant in Japan. And that is the plant that 2 weeks later would have a massive meltdown. So apparently there was a couple who was out jogging in the area, and a couple of scientists who were out working in the area, and they saw this creature take off into the sky. They reported glowing red eyes and a screech that sounded like the brakes of a truck whenever it needs the brake services. So just a really loud squealing sound. It hung around for a couple of hours, and then it disappeared. and 2 weeks later, the nuclear power plant suffered a meltdown. So
One of the worst
Mothman,
meltdowns we've had in a long time too. So
oh, oh yeah. So he's all over the place. He's not just an American critter.
apparently, I only heard about him in Virginia. So
Surprisingly, Virginia is not the only place in America that he's been either. So, as we know, the Mothman disappeared out of Point Pleasant after the Silver Bridge collapse, which happened on December 15th of 1967. People reported seeing the Mothman flying around that bridge shortly before it collapsed. Some attribute it to him causing the collapse. Some say that it was him warning of the collapse. But then again, in August 1st of 2007, the I-35W Mississippi Bridge collapsed, killing 13 people, and a couple of people present at the time reported seeing a flying humanoid with glowing red eyes.
makes him almost sound like he's a warner of danger.
Yeah, a lot of people have that description of him, that they say that whenever he's present anywhere, it feels like there's a sense of persistent doom. Almost like people have like this pervasive panic as long as his presence in a place is being reported. After he leaves, all of that disappears, but he usually doesn't leave until there's a cataclysm of some variety or some kind of disaster. So kind of a weird thing, which incidentally, we should keep our eyes on Chicago, because the most recent sightings of Mothman happened in 2017 and 2018 in Chicago, Illinois. Several people have reported a flying humanoid with glowing red eyes, and as of yet, there hasn't been any sort of disaster.
But that's is that the only time there's been sightings, and nothing's happened that we know of?
Nothing's happened that we know of, no.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's ever happened before. Like, maybe he will warn about something and we're able to fix it before it happens. That's a possibility.
It is a possibility. I kind of wonder, like, what we would have to fix. And to respond to Fearsome here, the I-35 bridge was in Mississippi, not in Minneapolis. So yeah, I mean, if he is just kind of like some kind of harbinger of disaster, I always have this sense that, like, whenever you see these things, or like, for example, banshees of folklore who would show up to warn of death, it's kind of hard to kind of get what you should be fixing if all you know is that there's some kind of creature here screaming at you,
Something's gonna happen. What? Something's gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen. Well, what? I don't know. He didn't tell me. He was just screeching.
He didn't tell me. But I'm just wondering if maybe that he just can feel something bad going to happen, but maybe sometimes we fix it before it happens. But I don't know. It's just my theory. I can't, due to how some of the stuff that, like, the nuclear plant, they know why it failed. A creature didn't cause that. The way I'm pretty sure how those bridges fell weren't because of that creature. I'm pretty sure engineers came in afterwards and went, actually, that bolt right there, that one little bolt was loose. Sometimes they've been that bad.
Right. Like, for example, they know that the Silver Bridge collapse happened because of a faulty I-beam. So, and it's not something that happened because of tampering, as far as they can tell. Is just wear and tear, and just kind of like a faulty design, if I remember correctly. So it's real easy to say this creature is not causing these disasters. However, he does seem to be present shortly before they happen.
Yeah, it almost seems like he kind of is a banshee of himself. Like, he can foresee that something bad's going to happen. He's not warning the family, he's warning everyone.
Yeah.
That's what a banshee does, is warns the family that they're about to lose a loved one.
Right. to respond to Silver Threads here, he says that Mothman is from Krypton. He was in the same pod as Superman. Actually, there are theories that Mothman is extraterrestrial in nature.
I don't want to go too far out that way. Just because
Yeah.
I would like to keep it on Earth as much as possible. Just because that gets way more complicated. But, you know, who knows?
Yes. It's kind of difficult to separate Mothman from extraterrestrial phenomenon because a lot of weird things happen whenever he's around that can't be explained with any kind of things that we could find here on Earth. So, for example, there is large reports in Point Pleasant of supernatural phenomenon happening just prior to the Mothman being spotted and long after after he's been seen in certain places. So, for example, poltergeist activity on the rise. Let's see, people having nightmares all over the place, even people who haven't seen him on the rise. Some people who spotted Mothman reported being able to see the future. Also, so that there was a precognition is something that apparently they had for several weeks after having seen him. Kind of a weird thing, but some people actually reported being able or having known that the Silver Bridge was going to collapse right after having seen the Mothman.
So maybe he is trying to forewarn in his different way. Because maybe he can't speak English.
I know.
Or Japanese. Or
German.
German. So he just tries to tell them, like, I mean, getting in front of the place where people are going in is a great way from stopping them from dying. But
yeah, I mean, so it's kind of a weird thing. So I kind of imagine it's a lot like somebody from out of town showing up somewhere, and so like for example, if I were to go, I don't know, into, I'm just gonna throw something out here into, gosh, where's a place that I don't know the language? France. Let's say that I would go out to France, right? And I happen to notice that something is horribly wrong somewhere, and it's about to fail, and people are in danger. I have no way of communicating this. So I'm gonna make a ruckus. I'm gonna make myself seen. I'm gonna point to what's happening and hope that they'll figure it out. Hell, I might even draw them a picture, So like, hey, look, this is what's happening. For all we know, that's exactly what Mothman is doing. He's flying around, getting attention, giving people premonitions like, hey, pay attention. But everyone's so terrified, like, oh my gosh, it's a giant Mothman.
To be fair, if I saw a giant Mothman, I might be a little more focused on that than the catastrophic behind him. That.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, no, stop paying attention to me. Don't pay attention to the guy behind the curtain. Pay attention to the disaster to my right.
Exactly. So, taking the example from France previously, now imagine me trying to explain to people what's happening while I'm 12 feet tall with giant wings. I think they'll be more like, oh, good Lord, what is happening here?
Well, or even just wearing this really bright and, like, out of nowhere outfit, and people are going to pay attention more to you than they are going to with the disaster behind you, because you're the disaster in front of them, in quotes, right?
Exactly. So I think the best bet that he had would have been to just stick around the Silver Bridge for his entirety of his stay at Point Pleasant. Don't go anywhere. Just kind of hang around there so that people pay attention to the bridge. Yeah, I would have made it a point to like just circle around the I-beam continuously. Like, hey, look at this. But even then, there's no guarantee that when he flew away, people were like, oh, well, we should probably look at what's going on with this I-beam. They probably would have been like, huh, that was weird. Yeah. This moth creature circled around the I-beam and now he's gone. Chase him.
Yeah, exactly. Go across the bridge. And hello, CCG. Welcome. Yeah, no, especially when you can't speak a language, it would be very hard to try to go like, hey, and then of course if you're not looking humanoid, it'd be very hard to kind of get people to realize what you're talking about. But
Right. I see Silver and Derringer are both asking me to give my best impression of the Mothman screech.
oh god.
I mean, do you guys want me to hurt your ears that much?
I mean, I can turn his mic down a little bit, but I can't do anything on my side.
I mean, I'm not against it. I mean, I've made the monster effects in my videos before, so I mean, I can. It's just.
I mean, I've done it once. I can do it again.
Helix, hello. He was with me playing Yu-Gi-Oh yesterday. It was fun.
Oh, you actually know Helix.
Yeah, I know Helix. I know him personally. He and I used to be roommates before.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That explains why he shows up everywhere. Hello, Helix.
Yeah. So, yeah, everyone describes the Mothman screech as something that will haunt your nightmares. So, people who hear it actually have suffered post-traumatic stress disorder from having heard it, you know? A lot of them suffer anxiety for long after they've even seen the creature. So it's kind of I don't know, you know, to me, it always paints them as almost otherworldly, you know, like nothing like this exists. And it also lends a lot to what theories about him are. They say, well, a lot of theories say, well, he's a barn owl, you know, a barn owl has reflective eyes. So when light shines on them, they have a tendency to glow red. Mm-hmm. Some say he's a sandhill crane. A sandhill crane is roughly the same size, has roughly the same wingspan, and they have red patches over their eyes, which may look like eyes to the eyes of a tall humanoid. But the thing is, a lot of the people who hear Mothman say that sounds more like a human screaming than it does a bird. So.
Yeah, but we also know for a fact that when what animal is it? Cougar? I think it's a cougar.
Yes.
Sounds like a woman screaming in pain. So, I mean, we know there's creatures out there that do sound humanoid that aren't. So.
Well, cougars are also, you know, older ladies searching for young hunks like myself.
Other cougar, not that one.
God, that kind of. Okay, everyone says, do the Mothman screech.
I'll put your mic down a little bit so you won't blow the speaker out here. Okay, you're down.
Okay, here we go. Let me know when.
Go ahead.
Okay, my best impression of the Mothman scream. I'm done.
I don't think your mic even picked it up. Your mic didn't even pick it up. Did you blow your mic out?
I think I might have.
He tried, guys, but I don't think his mic can take it.
I tried.
I'll put it back. There we go.
All right, so hello Breaker. I see Breaker in the chat, and hello CCG. I don't remember if I said hello to you, but there you are. Fearsome says, "Oh my God, Bard! I think she actually heard it. Did you hear it? Are you filled with anxiety?"
I didn't hear anything. I just there was like this small little sound and then nothing. His mic cut out. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we didn't get anything. Great. Your mic could not take it, dude.
Yeah, that's because I reached Mothman levels, is why.
Yeah. The mic's like, nope, we don't allow that through here. We don't want people to have nightmares.
Hello Gamma. I see Brother Gamma has joined us.
Hello Gamma. Hello. Welcome to our first ever talking about cryptids.
Yes. Cryptids that use cryptocurrency.
Yes.
They're the ones that introduced it to humanity. Little known fact is that Mothman used to be a financial officer back where he came from.
He's the financial advisor to all cryptids.
Yes, that's right.
I hope Bart has roommates. You live in an apartment building, so yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I do have like all that what's it called, sound insulating foam on my wall, so I don't think that my neighbors can hear it. However, my dog looks extremely unsettled. I think she has anxiety now.
It's okay. My dog came with anxiety, so you get used to it.
Bog says he didn't hear anything, but he thinks I subconsciously gave him gas. Oh, well,
Oh,
the effects vary from person to person. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah.
But yeah, so sandhill cranes, barn owls are two of the theories put forth saying that this creature is 100% not supernatural, not paranormal, and it can be perfectly explained away.
Well, so the thing with cryptids, so it's like there's another zoo. Oh goodness. There's actually a type of scientist that actually looks for like cryptids and stuff. So we used to think giant octopuses weren't real things. Giant squids. Sorry.
Right.
So my problem is, yes, we can say that we think it's this or we think it's that, but one, we haven't explored very much of the sea. Two, I live in Canada, which is like 90% woods and no one lives there. So we know for a fact we haven't found all the creatures on our planet.
Yeah. However, you normally things that are out of the range of human vision. So, for example, things that exist in the ocean, perfectly plausible that we haven't seen them. However, you would think that we would see things that live in the sky. And especially things that are residing near places where humans have inhabited.
Maybe, but I mean, cryptozoologist, yes. I think I always remember zoologist.
That's correct. Cryptozoologist, correct.
But yeah, that's actually what they're called. People who are scientists who are looking into this stuff. And I just love the fact that we don't know everything. And yes, we have had lots of things but around where we live, but since we're day creatures and a lot of the cryptids are night creatures, it makes it a lot harder because our eyesight's garbage at night.
You are 100% correct about that. As a matter of fact, almost 100% of the Mothman sightings have happened either with overcast skies or in the dead of night. There has been, let's see, exactly one that I found that happened during the daytime, and that was the one in Germany where the mine collapsed.
Yeah, and I think that one almost sounded like he was like, I don't care. I'm just going to stand here. You ain't getting anywhere near this. Don't worry. You'll thank me later. I might give you PTSD, though. I'm sorry about that. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of a mess with the Mothman. One funny story that I found is that he is so terrifying. There was a reported incident on the 16th of November of 1966 where a couple and their friend and the friend's baby were going to visit friends at their house, and they live in the outskirts of Point Pleasant. Whenever they got there, they found Mothman hanging around outside of the house that they were going to visit. And as soon as they see Mothman screeches at them, right? Mm-hmm. So when he screeches at them, the couple takes off running for the front door. And the lady holding her baby panics so much at the screech that she drops her baby and takes off running for the front door. And it takes her a second to realize, wait a minute, I left my child behind. So she runs back to grab the baby, to pick up the baby that she dropped. And then she runs back towards the front door again. And supposedly Mothman actually hung around for a while after that. He was actually hanging around the outside of their house, just kind of like peeking in through windows, just horrifying all of the people. And the lady herself, her name was Marcella Bennett. reported that Mothman actually stalked her all the way back to her house and visited her several times after that incident.
So is 1966 the first reporting of Mothman ever?
This is the first recorded, yes. The first actual recorded incident was in 1966, and it was by the two gravediggers mentioned earlier that they were just doing their job, and they saw him darting around in trees.
Yeah, because I'm almost wondering if 1966 is his first ever sighting, if he just didn't know what humans were, was trying to figure us out. Because
Kinda.
he never seems to have what he does in Pleasant anywhere else. That's the one that sticks out weirdly. Compared to
The screeching at people?
Well, the screeching and the hanging around and not being where the accident is. From everything you've told me, it seems like 1966, if he is an extraterrestrial, is maybe when he got here. And he just didn't know what we were, and he was trying to figure us out and trying to see if he could communicate with us. And realized he couldn't.
So, since you bring up the fact that he might be extraterrestrial, are you ready to delve into the weird theories, including Bard's own personal theory of Mothman?
Yes, that's what we're here for.
All right. So, first things first, I want to acknowledge that Fearsome says that Mothman stalked Marcella Bennett because he had a crush on her. Personally, I think that he was trying to make sure that the baby was all right because she dropped that baby.
Yeah, the poor baby. Oh my goodness.
I know.
How old was it? Did it say how old the baby was?
I actually didn't see how old the baby was.
Normally, a baby is anywhere from between a newborn, which normally they will specify if it's a newborn, all the way to about 3 years is about when they stop saying they're babies. So I'm thinking that baby was pretty young. Actually, no, they normally say toddler at 2. So yeah, that baby was probably like somewhere between 1 and 2.
Oh, and it's kind of a sad thing to consider. You know, like you personally don't think that when you're a parent, your first instinct is usually to protect your kid. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't know, but I'm told. So what's it called? Everyone says, you look out for yourself. Your instincts are always to look out for your kid. You stop caring about what happens to you. But this lady just shows like this thing was so terrifying. I forgot I had a baby for a second. I just dropped it.
I try not to say those things because everyone's different. Some people's instincts are a bit different. So
right.
I'm sorry, I see that PA just said I gave you guys gold and you failed me. I'm highly disappointed in both of you. I'm only reading the chat every once in a while because I'm trying to focus on what you're saying, so...
I don't know what he gave us gold in. I saw that Derringer earlier said that I should randomly screech like a Mothman every so often without giving him any warning. Just to keep you guys on your...
PA Nightmares. Who dares dislike this live stream? However you are, I will send Honey Badger Army after you.
Oh, that's Mothman is really just the child of Mothra. Fight me.
Maybe?
He said that earlier.
Oh.
So, in response to that, maybe like a person somewhere was just like, hey, Mothra's just a really sexy kaiju. And I'm gonna romance the heck out of her, Because I think it has been stated canonically in the Godzilla lore that Mothra is female. I don't know. Maybe. But, this is not the stream where we discuss human on kaiju interactions. So, sorry, PA.
Yeah, the problem is, so... PA, I'm not paying attention on the actual stream part. I'm paying attention on the program, and it doesn't show the tags properly in the program, sadly. Because I want to make sure that our mic levels are good and everything's going on well like that. I normally don't pay attention like when PA and them are on, but since this is a new stream, I still want to play with our mics and make sure they're good, so...
dummy thick wings, says Derringer.
So, you said you were going to go into the theories.
Yeah. So here's in order to get into this theory, we first have to discuss another paranormal entity known as the Grinning Man,
Ooh, that sounds familiar.
because they're extremely closely related.
Okay.
So the Grinning Man first spotted in 1966 as well,
Oh.
as far as I can tell. The Grinning Man first appeared in New Jersey. Uh, he is described as a tall humanoid that always seems to be wearing a skin-tight suit. It's reflective in nature, so it's kind of like a foil type thing. Um, uh, and they say that he has two dark, beady eyes that are set very far apart, and he always has a grin on his face that's inhumanly long. He's been reported in New Jersey. He's been reported in Virginia. He's been reported in other parts around the world as well.
I
The
think
Grinning Man,
I've
yeah,
seen drawings of it.
yeah. There's drawings of him all over the place. He's actually a very popular, paranormal entity, and people, use him in stories all the time because of just how weird he is. Um, the Grinning Man, is also unique in that he not only shows up only at night, but he has also been reported to have shown up inside of the houses of people. So while people are sleeping, they'll wake up and they'll find the Grinning Man staring down at them.
That's unsettling.
Um, oh, I know that's extremely pleasant. As a matter of fact, one of the reported sightings of the Grinning Man was in Virginia, where Point Pleasant is. And I can't remember if it's West Virginia or just regular Virginia, so I just keep calling it Virginia. But he reportedly showed up there. There was a couple who had been experiencing paranormal phenomenon inside of their house, poltergeist activity, they described it as. And all of this culminates with their young daughter one day waking up screaming and running into their room. Whenever she runs into their room, she says that she spotted a giant figure shaped like a man wearing a reflective suit who was grinning at her from the side of her bed. She took off running in their direction, and I think that it was also reported that she had premonitions following this encounter, which is a lot like what was reported from Mothman. But the pivotal one that keeps being reported is the one of the sewing machine salesman that spotted the Grinning Man on his way into Virginia. And what happened here was, he shows up, or he's driving down the road, and at one point a UFO descends from the sky and parks itself in front of his car on the highway. Whenever that happens, the UFO opens and a tall humanoid man comes down from the UFO. He's got beady eyes set far apart and a wide grin. And he approaches the window to the guy's car, and the gentleman, whose name is Woodrow Derenberger, says that this entity communicated with him telepathically the entire time. He never moved his mouth to speak, and he knew what the thing was saying solely in his mind. So the Grinning Man taps on the guy's window and he asks about the people in this area, what the city's like, a bunch of really random sounding things. And after he's done with his questions, he says, "All right, well, I'm out. But before I go, just know you haven't heard the last of me. Also, by the way, my name is Indrid Cold." He actually told him that's what my name is. And then he just disappears. He gets back on the UFO and goes away. And yes, the Woodrow Derenberger did say that he was approached by Indrid Cold at least 3 more times throughout his life. And here's another thing: his wife also said that she met Indrid Cold whenever his husband was being visited by him a couple of times. And his wife actually went on to say that she didn't know what he was, she didn't know where he was from, but she had the distinct feeling that whatever his intentions were evil.
Oof.
So a super terrifying creature. And a lot of people have mentioned that because they happened at around the same time, and they suspect that Mothman and Indrid Cold are possibly one and the same being. Um, which is where we now get into Bard's theory of what happened here. So the Grinning Man and Mothman have very different descriptions. Mothman being a giant humanoid being with wings and glowing red eyes, and the Grinning Man looking more human, with the exception of his inhuman grin and also the reflected metal suit. Right?
Yeah.
Um, it's my theory that maybe they're not extraterrestrial, but perhaps extra dimensional,
Ah.
and that Mothman is perhaps a creature from this other dimension that got into ours and wasn't meant to get into ours, and
Mm-hmm.
that the Grinning Man is what humans in that extra dimension are like, and he's here trying to catch Mothman and bring him back to where he belongs.
Hmm.
Kind of like a dog catcher of sorts.
Or a creature catcher, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Maybe
It,
that is an interesting theory.
Yeah, I subscribe to the synchronicity theory of paranormal phenomenon, which basically says everything that exists or everything that can be reported as paranormal is a thing that is potentially real, but that doesn't mean that it has to be separate from other things. So, for example, a lot of people say cryptids are their own category, and UFOs are their own category, and ghosts are their own category. But the theory of synchronicity says maybe it's all the same thing, but happening in different ways. So uh, a lot of synchronicity falls into the idea of extra dimensional phenomenon. So maybe what we're seeing is rips in between dimensions that allow things to travel between here and there, and we see them and we report them as what we see them, and sometimes categorize them as different. So UFOs may be something traveling from one dimension into ours and then disappearing right after as it gets pulled back into theirs. Cryptid, something disappearing from their dimension into ours and then disappearing after it returns. And ghosts, things that don't 100% shift from their dimension into ours, but almost like an after image of them does. Kind of like a small refraction, like what you would see through a foggy window.
See, the problem is you talk about ghosts, but I've seen ghosts, so that one's hard for me to say my full sense on that without getting too far into it. Ghosts are a weird one.
Mhm.
But like I said, it's hard to, we don't know everything about our world. We don't know everything about our universe, and especially since like today I've been reading Glitch in the Matrix stories, and that is also one of the theories where it's another dimension feeding into ours, where things go weird because something disappeared into a different dimension. And even
Right.
scientists are pretty, like, there's the multiple reality theory, I think it's what's called, or multiple dimension theory. And theory, like, everyone thinks theory means that it's a hypothesis. Well, when you're talking scientific, a theory is fact. Because
Yeah, it's kind of like they have data that supports it, but they can't, 100% say, yeah, that's the way it is yet.
no, because gravity is just a theory. It's a theory of gravity. But we know for a fact.
Extremely prevailing one.
But
It's persistent.
the theory means fact. So laws interact with theories. So like, this is going off on tangent a little bit, but so a law will make a theory true. Like, so it's a theory of gravity, it's a theory of evolution. But, and I mean, if tomorrow they found let's say humans that were somehow in the same time as dinosaurs were, they would go in and go, okay, So our theory is somehow wrong, and they will change it and fix it and figure out how, because theories are originally started as hypothesis, and then it has to go through many, many steps and many, many things before it becomes a theory. When it becomes a theory of something, it's pretty much fact. It can still be changed, because it's like the theory of relativity. Well, we know for a fact relativity is real. Like, for a fact, we know that if you're doing something you really enjoy, time goes by super fast. Well, if you're doing something you hate, time goes very slow. We know that when you leave Earth, we know for a fact here on Earth to what's orbiting us right now, we've had very, very special clocks synced up perfectly on Earth, and they go up there and they get desynced.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes it's not even leaving Earth. Sometimes it's just being on an airplane.
Yep.
Atomic clocks show a slight desynchronization because time actually travels at a different rate the closer you are to the Earth than it does when you're above it.
Yes. So.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's a theory of dimensions. I'm pretty sure that's that. So that means something, that it's actually a theory. It's not what goes through your mind, which is like, I have a theory that if I press this button, it was going to do this. Well, it really, for scientists, it's a hypothesis. Until you can prove it, it's not a theory. So
I got you. So we all should be saying, I have a hypothesis that
yes.
This is how. I got
yes,
you.
Really, we need to change our phrasing because
theories are for scientists.
Yes,
unless you have a degree, you're not making theories. You're making hypotheses.
Well, or you could make a theory in the end, but when you first start, it's not a theory of something; it's a hypothesis, and so it's us not understanding, and same so I don't want to go too much into it, but I watch a lot of stuff about vaccines and stuff like that, and all the theories on it, and them going about how no scientist has ever said there is no correlation. Every scientist has said, with all the data, nothing has come to this conclusion. That is a scientist going, yeah, there's 100% chance that that's not what's happening. They don't speak like that, though. Scientists don't speak our language. That's not how they're trained in their minds to think anymore. They think, okay, all the data has led to this. So as long as the data doesn't change, there's no correlation. It's correlation, not causation, which a lot of people aren't realizing, that those two things are different, which is what scientists are there. So, kids are getting vaxxed at a certain point, and they're finding autism at a certain point. It's correlation, not causation. They've done so much research at this point about it that scientists are now 100%, but they will never tell you they're 100%. But they said, due to all the data they found, it's correlation, not causation. It just happens to be approximately when they start showing themselves. So,
according to Silver Threads, he wants to disagree with you and start beef. He says, theories aren't facts. They're prevailing scientific models. Fact implies it's absolute.
It's pretty much a fact by the time it gets to an actual theory. We have to not start thinking of it. They will never actually say it's a fact, because gravity is still a theory. And we know for a fact that gravity is a thing, but it's still labeled as a theory. They can change. We have changed a little bit with gravity, but the fact that gravity is a thing has never changed. But us figuring out that Earth's this big and our gravitational pull's this much because of this. Well, it's changed a little bit because we started realizing that weight matters. How much our planet weighs matters as well. What it's made of, how big it is. So all those things. So there's been a little bit of change, but the fact that gravity is a thing hasn't. So same with evolution. Evolution has changed a little bit but the fact that evolution is a thing hasn't changed.
Right.
So it's me having that little pet peeve that people go, well, it's just a theory. Well, you're thinking of a theory as a hypothesis. Well, a theory is closer to a fact.
Gotcha. So in that case, this is the Bard's hypothesis on synchronicity, and the hypothesis on Mothman getting loose from her wherever he was, and the Grinning Man being here to get him back.
Yeah, the fact that they showed up about the same time does say something. Like the exact same year could be correlation, but it is quite interesting that those two are together, and the fact that they make you feel the same. But at the same time, if someone came up to me with a really weird grin on their face, no, they would scare the absolute poop out of me too. So
an inhumanly large grin.
Yes, I'm picturing the pictures I've seen in my head, and oh my goodness, that creature just absolutely scares me. And I'm wondering, almost, even if it is a humanoid and it's not quite human, if it's artificially put that smile on its face to make itself be more pleasant, but it backfired.
I am so happy you brought this up. Because here's a weird one.
Okay.
But before we get into it, Derringer asks, do microbiologists count as scientists?
Yes.
Okay, yes, there you go, Derringer. You are a scientist.
Derringer is a microbiologist?
I assume that he is because he asked about it.
They are scientists. They're biologists. They're small biologists, but they're biologists. They're scientists.
So here's a weird one, and this might be something that we can cover on a later date because it all seems to kind of connect together.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever it comes to UFOs, and I'm gonna kind of like throw this question your way. What's something that always seems to follow UFOs like thunder follows lightning? Immediately after there's a UFO encounter, a UFO sighting, a UFO phenomenon, what follows right after?
From what I can remember, normally time loss?
Yeah. So, I mean, there is like the effects. But usually what I was trying to get to, and I guess I should have specified a little more, there is the presence of the Men in Black.
Yes.
Yes. So the thing about the Men in Black, as I'm sure you've probably heard, is that they are extremely monotone. Mm-hmm. Their skin looks extremely pasty. And they look like something trying to pretend to be human, but not 100% getting it.
Yeah, they're slightly off. Just
they're slightly off. Exactly. Here's a weird report that I've found, and that's that a lot of people who have encountered the Men in Black say that they too have inhumanly large grins on their faces.
So maybe the Grinning Man is a Man in Black, but not quite.
Yes, exactly. So just going back to the things that I was kind of noticing here is there's UFOs around Point Pleasant. There is an unknown humanoid that's flying around Point Pleasant. And Men in Black also. And the Men in Black are described similar to what the Grinning Man is described as.
Mm-hmm. Except they're in black suits.
Except they're in black suits, exactly. I honestly think that... and I don't know. I honestly think that all of this is connected somehow. I just, there's no way that you can look at all this and say there isn't at least some mild connection here,
Yeah, I just read what Silver said. I looked up the definition of fact. It isn't an absolute, just something that has the most evidence to support it, just like theories. Theories are facts. I concede. Yeah, 42 likes science, so she's a little bit of a nerd. I'm not very good at arguing though. That's one of my weaker suits. Like I'm very big at like giving up because I find that so much energy to like try to like argue with someone. It's like, look, I know all this stuff. Here's all my facts. Please just listen to them, okay? I don't want to argue with you. This is what I know. And there you go. You can take it however you want. And always, everyone, whatever I say, always, whatever you, like, don't, like, think that I'm trying to attack anyone, ever. These are my thoughts, my feelings, how I see things. I'm always big on, like, looking things up and trying to figure things out. And science is one of the best ways to explain how our world is. It's not perfect. It's missing things. We are still learning things about our world. This is why I'm more than willing to do cryptids, even though most scientists would be like, well, there's not enough facts. So it's like, well, at the same time, we're not seeing them enough. We don't know enough. It's hard to get the facts. So it's fine to hypothesize. But I think theory is correct in this one, because I think theory in this is like psychology, but I'd like to stay away from theory because people use it in the wrong way all the time as a defense. So these are our ideas, what we think.
On the other hand, Bart is extremely excellent at arguing, and his declarations are theories 100%, and if he says so, he's attacking your ideas. Take it with extreme offense. I'm just kidding, do not. I'm also just throwing out my hypotheses out here.
Yes, we're and I want to just put that little disclaimer in, since I went and started talking about vaccines, and I do not want to open that can of worms. Oh my goodness, not. All thoughts on this podcast are Bards and 242s alone. Please take them with a grain of salt. They do not reflect the Nevermore Collective.
With the exceptions of the things that have been reported that I, went over here, like, the sightings, the people involved, and all that.
Yes.
Those are facts. Those are in newspapers and everything. So, I mean, you can go look at them if you'd like.
Yes. Which actually, what we should do next time is, I forgot to do it this time, but if you have the links for some of the places that you found some of your facts,
sure.
I'll add that to the description. I forgot to grab those. We should definitely make sure that we put our facts in so people can check our things. It also keeps things more open and like we're not just pulling things out of our butt, unless of course we're saying we're pulling them out of our butt. Which
Silver says that he promises to be offended just for me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Let's see. Also, Derringer confirms that he is in fact a microbiologist, which is really cool.
That's super cool.
Yes. Very cool.
Derringer.
Also, he wants to open up a Derringer? I don't know. I always feel like I'm saying it wrong.
No, it's right. It's Derringer.
Okay, good. Okay, great.
So do I. And he said
I feel like I've asked this before, but I don't remember.
Also, he's fine with being called there as well if we have problems. But no, I do not want to open that can of worms. Those people need to stay the hell away from me. The anti-vaxxers, I don't want anything to do with anti-vaxxers. They scare me.
Oh, Lord. But, yeah. So, that said, that's what I got here, So I think that, honestly, Mothman is probably extra-dimensional. I have no idea how to connect the dots on, his presence having psychic effects on people, and or how he always seems to show up just before disaster. Maybe he's psychic. Maybe his psychic abilities are contagious.
I can't remember who said it, but someone said maybe he's a time traveler too. Maybe he comes back and warns us.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or maybe he's from the real far future and is coming back with the stuff he can remember that happened, because he hasn't been to everything. I mean, we've had a lot of disasters and no one's seen him at those ones. So
that's
we've
true.
Had lots of earthquakes, lots of tsunamis. So I mean, but so maybe like he doesn't have a perfect memory. Maybe he's come back from the future and is trying to just like, oh yeah, I remember this happened here. So
Yeah, the problem I have with the time traveler theory is how far from the future is he that he can't speak English?
Dude, maybe he never was able to speak English.
Oh my gosh, that is the word. He comes here speaking futurese, which is all just a series of high-pitched screams,
Or maybe
trying
they
to
don't.
warn us.
Maybe they don't speak anymore. Maybe we've gotten so advanced. Maybe our tech's gotten so advanced we just talk to each other through our minds now.
Ah, that is frustrating.
But it's also very realistic with how some things are going with our tech. Think
Oh
about
Lord.
it. We have these. We carry in our pockets to and from work a computer that is more powerful than what we use to put us on the moon.
You would think that the Mothman would carry around a computer that is so powerful it can communicate that things are about to fall to pieces.
Max can't communicate with PCs.
The files can, though.
I'm just saying though, maybe his software's so advanced it can't go back anymore.
I was like, what are they running? Man, Windows. God, Lee, what do I do with that?
But it also could be that maybe we've lost the ability to actually speak and we only communicate through our minds now. Who knows? There's lots of theories that could happen. Futurese. Yes, that is now a new language, futurese. Me and Bard will come up with it later. It will involve a lot of clicks and screeches, and you will run away with PTSD when you're done. You're welcome.
You might also develop, psychic abilities as a result.
Maybe. If wings start growing, you might need to start talking to your doctor about maybe futurese isn't for you. I feel like I'm done with this. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
The side effects of speaking futurese might result in an abnormally large grin.
Your clothes becoming very reflective, or maybe you'll be starting wearing black suits. Consult your doctor if futurese is right for you. We don't actually have those ads in Canada.
You don't have those ads in Canada?
No, like I've seen them,
Really?
but they've always been on American TV. We don't advertise our meds here.
What?
You go talk to your doctor, and you go, hey, these are my problems. Okay, this meds might work for you. Some warning signs might be.
That is ridiculous. What? That sounds so...
They don't make the money here like they do in the States. The States is run very weird compared to the rest of the world.
Are you sure Canada is not in Mothman dimension?
No, maybe everyone else, maybe you're in Mothman dimension and everyone else is in the proper dimension.
Cast your votes in the comment section below. Are we in the US in the Mothman dimension? Where do you think the Mothman dimension is?
This whole time, it's Alaska.
Oh, I could go on for days about Alaska and the weird stuff that goes on there.
Yes, Alaska, but Alaska has the same problem Canada does, where we're covered in forest. Which is why I'm not against the thought of Bigfoot. If I was a big humanoid creature, I'd stay away from us. We're scary. We know for a fact, we have seen it in the fossils, that we went out of our way with killing other humanoids or reproducing with them until they didn't exist anymore. Because that's what we did with the
Neanderthals.
Yeah, we literally reproduced with them and killed them, and now if you're white, you have Neanderthal DNA in you, most likely. I think the only humans that don't are black people and maybe people from North America, like natives, I think, but I might be wrong there. I know Europeans definitely do, because that's where they were. I know Europeans. So if you're white, most likely you have Neanderthal DNA in you, because that's where they were.
Weird.
But yeah, and we know that there was hobbits on an island,
Oh.
and we killed them. There was giant, like, they weren't like as big, but they were bigger than us, that we killed off. So, you know, if I was a humanoid-like creature, I might stay away from us.
Or develop a screeching mechanism that makes humans run away in fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
We've cracked the code, everybody. Mothman screeches because he wants us away from him before we kill him.
but he also wants to warn us before we die. Like,
Yeah,
this thing's gonna
it's
fall
kind
apart, but don't come near me because I would like to live, please.
It's like trying to prevent like an angry dog from eating a bar of chocolate. You know, like, hey, don't come near me, but also don't eat the thing.
Don't eat, especially since it's dark chocolate. Do not eat the dark chocolate.
Yeah, really.
Your dog, surprisingly, dogs, if it's not dark chocolate, dogs can eat surprisingly a lot of chocolate. A lot more than you think. I had a coworker, her dog got into the chocolate, into the Easter chocolate. And she's like, this dog's very old. She's like, oh, so Silver Threads, 42 fact check proof. She is right. In Canada, the Food and Drug Act prohibits most direct-to-consumer advertising of prescription medications. Yeah. I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know what the act was. Anyways, so her dog ate, and but like it's like she's like 12 or 13 years old. Like, she's a very old dog. She's like, nope, I'm not. It's not worth it because it's expensive to take your dog to the vet. So she's like, okay, you know, we're gonna see what happens. The dog opens its mouth and just chocolate comes out of this dog's mouth, pouring out of this dog's mouth, and she's just like, what the frick? Dog's fine. Dog's still alive to this day. But yeah, to this day,
awesome.
I just remember her, like, I picture her in my head with the dog, like, just bleh. I'm like,
oh no.
Just chocolate and more chocolate. I swear more chocolate came out of that dog than what the dog was weighed. Like, it was a tiny dog. I know which one she was talking about. It was just this tiny little dog, and yeah. It was milk chocolate, and I think it was cheap milk chocolate, so, you know, it barely had chocolate in it. So it was mostly sugar.
Oh, poor puppy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try something here because Derringer keeps asking me for the screech, so let me see if I can make my mic not cut out.
I'll turn it down again.
This is what Mothman sounds like.
We got more this time.
Okay.
We gotta eat, and that's all we got. But it was more than last time.
And again, my dog seems to be racked with anxiety. I think that I'm hitting the right notes.
You'll have to record it in, like, Audacity.
I can do that. I'll upload it later, I guess.
It might be Discord, too. Discord might
It might be.
Thinking that
it might be like you know, just kind of blocking the sound. Like, nope.
It's very possible. The dog became a chocolate fountain. Yes, the dog became a chocolate fountain. I heard eat. Yes, that's all we got was eat. I'm all out of water. I'm all out of tea. I drank everything. I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. Sorry. That's what went through my head. I'm all out of water. I'm all out of tea. I'm so lost without these.
All out of water. All out of tea. All that I heard was.
That was awesome. Do the Mothman screech. Small e. Small e.
Small e.
Oh, 10 out of 10. So, Derringer, I have to ask, are you very tiny since you're a microbiologist?
Well,
because the only microbiologist I ever heard of before Derringer was on a TV show and she was very tiny. So, not that I watched the show to the end. It is Big Bang Theory, but.
Oh, I thought you were like making a joke, like he's a microbiologist, kind of like the same way that most people say shrimp fried rice. Are you telling me a shrimp fried this rice?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, just to kind of drop us back into the subject here, long-lasting legacy of Mothman. He's become an unofficial mascot of Point Pleasant.
Yes.
There is a large silver metallic statue of Mothman out in their town square, and once a year in the fall, I think, they have a Mothman festival that brings in millions of dollars into the local economy with tourism, basically. A lot of places in town have Mothman themed just whatever, you know, like if you go to a restaurant, they have a Mothman themed burger or whatever. There is a Mothman museum, and there was even a movie made out of John Keel's book, The Mothman Prophecies, starring Richard Gere, and it was an okay movie. I watched it, and it was very okay.
It was very okay. That's a nice way of saying it. I haven't seen it, so. Hello, anime.
Anime.
Apparently, Derringer is 6'6", so he's not tiny. Darn.
Derringer's taller than both of us. Holy cow.
Yes, he is. PA came with a new song. New 42 song. I'm all out of water. I'm all out of tea. Now I need to take a pee.
And you pontificate that by saying, "Ee!" Anime, you're kind of getting here to the point where you missed that's now the official Mothman noise. Is that
it's just a little
small,
e. Small little
just a little e. Oh man, but yeah, that's the long-lasting legacy of Mothman. You know.
Yeah, I watched that one special I sent you, and yeah, apparently that's the one time a year where they will full out tell you all the stuff that they know about Mothman, but if you go there any other time of the year, they want nothing to do with you and Mothman. So
I don't know if it was what was bringing my city some revenue, I would embrace the heck out of it. I mean, like, honestly, like here in Texas, you know, where I live, if we had, like, I don't know, cowboy Mothman, that's all I would talk about.
Well, okay. Think of it this way. If you live somewhere and all people ever came up to you was ask you about a cowboy over and over and over again, and it was different people all the time, you would get annoyed at a certain point where it's like, I want to live my life, okay? Just stop asking me, because they won't just, like, you know, some people are very pushy, so I could see them, like, but if you could, like, probably went pleasantly, like, hey, I've got a couple questions, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to answer them. And if you just walked away and said no, but you've got a lot of people who don't understand, for whatever reason, that, you know, people want to live their lives and maybe don't know anything about Mothman, maybe they don't care about Mothman, so, you know, but you're like, could you tell me about Mothman? No, don't walk away. I know you know something about Mothman. You know, I would get annoyed.
Right.
So I'm thinking that's more it. Like, that show I showed you, I'm pretty sure they didn't go during that time, but they didn't go and, like, just talk to anyone. They got lined up all their people that they were going to talk to and you know, did all that. So they did it very professionally. Well, the average Joe is not going to do that and is going to annoy the average person in this town. So I get the whole, we don't want to talk about it except for this 1 week, okay? Please leave us alone.
I mean, I'm built a little different, though. I mean, because, like, for me, it's like, okay, if people are going to persistently ask about this, I lean into it, you know? So, like, for example, I'm asked all the time, it's like, hey, does everybody carry a gun in Texas? I'm like, oh, yes, we stand out in the town square at high noon, you know? And what's the other one? Like, do you guys ride horses everywhere you go? I'm like, horses is cheaper than gasoline, I'll tell you what. You can buy a large bag of carrots to keep your horse fueled up for months at a time. And, you know, so I just, like, lean into it. So if I lived there and people were like, "Oh, Mothman," I was like, "Dude, Mothman came to my barbecue last week. It was wild." You know, I kept asking him. I was like, "Hey, how many burgers you want, Mothman? How do you like them cooked?" And he was like, "Eee!" And I was like, "All right, well done. You got it, you weirdo."
Okay, so here's the weird thing. I've never been asked how I like my burger because in Canada, when you order them at restaurants, they're always well done because it's illegal in Canada to sell them any other way.
Oh, how weird.
But at home, you can do whatever you want. It's food safe reasons. Because
Okay.
it's been touched by the machine, you don't know if there's been contaminants all the way through it. And so you can cook steaks whatever you want. As long as the outside is seared where the machine has touched it, you're fine. But because a machine has touched the ground beef the whole way through, it has to be fully cooked due to we don't know if that machine was fully cleaned. So you need to make sure that everything has been cooked out of it just in case. It's a safety thing.
Got it.
Yeah, so I remember when my husband moved up here and he was just like, they didn't ask me how I want my burger. I'm like, yeah, because it's cooked. Like,
Oh, that's great.
we cook it. It's gray all the way through like a burger should be. But I mean, at home, you can do whatever you want. So, of course, at a barbecue. But I've never at a barbecue been asked how I want my burger. Everyone just assumes. The only thing I've ever been asked is, hey, did you want cheese on your burger?
Oh, that's so weird.
So, yeah. No, 42. Full of random facts.
Random Canada facts.
Just random facts, really.
Okay. Derringer S. Say yeehaw. Okay. So there's two different varieties. Here we have the Texas yeehaw, but we also have the Mothman yeehaw.
Cut out a little bit too.
Ah, okay.
No, we got most of it, so you're fine. But it was like, yeehaw. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's Discord not liking it. It's just like, nope.
Discord's like, no, we're not giving people anxiety because of Mothman screeches. We're not doing it.
Your dog, he's just like, please stop. Please stop, Dan.
Yeah,
please stop.
My dog, like the Mothman, are they back? Are they back?
They're coming to eat me.
Oh, lordy.
Yes,
So,
I actually
yeah.
like my steaks medium rare. Mostly Canadian facts. No, I actually know quite a bit about America, actually, too. I don't see the point because most of the people I talk to are Americans.
You knew what 100 miles per hour were in Canada.
No, I looked that up. But I knew actually approximately how fast that was.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, it's because I have an American husband. It helps.
Right.
But he like, I used to know really well what Fahrenheit to Celsius was, and then I stopped using it again, and now I'm like, that sounds really hot, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently Anime loves your drawing.
Oh, thank you.
She said whoever drew the Mothman on screen did a fab job. It's Serafin. It's in the corner to the bottom right.
Right. I did the Mothman for this episode, and also the dual avatar on the end where it's me and 42
Searching for things.
searching for things.
I do not know every fact, PA. But yeah, no, all the art that will be on the screen will be done by Serafin. Unless
It's true.
I threw a little cartoony thingy up. Then it'll be me. My drawings are getting better, but I haven't drawn in like... This sounds really bad because it's the same amount of time. I haven't drawn in 10 years, at least. I haven't drawn since high school.
It's all about practice.
Yes, I know that. And you cheated because you did it for a job for a while. Totally cheating.
I did do it for a job for a while, yes, and it was
Horrible.
it was there was a lot of people requesting furry drawings, so it was yeah.
What was it? Was it Sonic furry drawings?
Surprisingly, the people who requested Sonic drawings paid a lot and very well.
Oh,
So, yeah,
well, that's fair.
yeah. Dueling avatars. Yes, Derringer. Exactly what I.
Apparently, we look like Fry and Leela, and I actually see it.
I see it a little bit too. Yeah.
That's fine. Fry and Leela were awesome. I love them both, and I'm really happy they got together in the end.
Yeah, I was saying they were really cool. Yeah.
But I mean,
Futurama was awesome.
Yeah. The ending, that was one of my favorite endings ever. I'm not gonna go into it, but it was one of the best endings I've ever seen for a show. Normally, a lot of shows like drop the ball there because endings are hard to make them stick.
Oh, like Dexter. Good lord, the ending to Dexter was a mess. I
did not see it, and I'm happy I didn't because I probably would have cried with how it ended. I heard what happened, but I haven't actually seen it. But yeah. Same with Sopranos didn't end very well. They ended in the middle of a sentence, from what I heard. There's like, Lost. The ending for that, they were swearing up and down it wasn't going to end that way, and it did. So yeah.
I want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who's giving me, like, basically gassing me up for the drawings. I really appreciate it.
They're freaking awesome drawings, dude. You are really good artist.
A lot of the Sonic fan art community told me the same.
Apparently, you can draw a really good Sonic. And Knuckles.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I loved drawing Sonic the Hedgehog. He was my favorite character. I didn't know that it would be perverted in so many ways when I was an adult.
Oh my god, I know. I don't know what happened to this. I don't know what happened to the Sonic fandom, but boy, holy.
Yeah, they went in a weird way, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say much, but yeah, no, it gets pretty weird. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Apparently, PA can't remember how Futurama ended. He kind of forgets on purpose. I'm like, it was one of the few endings that actually stuck out in my head because it made me want to go rewatch everything all over again.
And I didn't have high hopes for it because for a while there, they had a couple of weak seasons. So I was like, I'm not sure how it's going to end, but I'm not sure I'm going to like it. Mm-hmm. But they stuck the landing. It was actually really, really pleasant to see. Very few shows do that for me. Like a couple of the ones that have stuck the landing for sure is like, definitely Futurama. Avatar: The Last Airbender stuck the landing really hard.
Yes.
And gosh, let's see. Not Game of Thrones. Good God, Game of Thrones was a dumpster fire.
I did not see the last season. I've heard how it ended, and I cried.
Yeah.
And that is not how the books are going to end, and I can tell you that 100%.
Oh, Fry and his dog. Derringer, why would you bring that up?
Yes, I remember that episode. That one's
always a sucker punch to my emotions. I'm always like, ah.
Oh my god, that was so sad. Fry's dog, and I was like, don't bring it back. No.
I know, I was the same way. I was like, if that was my dog and it lived for years after I died, I still would have brought it back.
Yes, because it's, well, especially with how, like, with me having my dog, like, knowing that if I disappeared and then I was able to bring my dog back, she would be over the moon to see me again. Whether or not she had a full life afterwards. We also know we have cases where dogs have let themselves die after their owners have died.
Derringer, like, remember pain.
Remember it. Remember it. Do it. Just do it. I'm just kidding. Embrace it.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I didn't watch Dexter as it was coming out either. They're apparently making a
reboot.
Yeah, I think they realized that they really didn't stick that landing. There was a lot they could have done with it. I find that as soon as the spoilers, but it's like the third season, as soon as they killed off his girlfriend, That was the end of it.
Oh, I had to take a long hiatus from that show after that. Like, I literally did not watch it for the next 2 seasons because I could not with the pain.
Well,
I was like, oh my God.
she grounded him.
Yeah.
So they took the grounding away.
Mm-hmm.
They severely crippled that character once they did that. She was one of the
Yep.
few characters they should have never killed off until like the last season. Because
No.
that would have meant more. If she
Yeah.
died last season and then maybe everything kind of ended with him doing what he did, would have made more sense. But the fact I haven't. Which Teen Titans?
Well, if we're talking about Teen Titans, I have an opinion here, a very strong opinion. Teen Titans ended after the Trigon arc. Whatever happened that last season, in my mind, doesn't exist.
There was something
Because
after the Trigon arc. I only remember the Trigon
there
arc.
was.
That sounds
Yeah,
so-
so like, you know, the one, I think it was season 5 where, you know, Raven's dad comes to the real world and then the Teen Titans have to
Yes.
fight him. Yeah, that was like, okay, perfect ending right there. All of the loose ends have been tied up, this and that. And then the last season, I kind of felt like they tried to force a lot of things, and especially the last episode where they brought up a loose end and just left it dangling just to kind of be like, oh yeah, you know, things can happen differently. And I'm like, you guys are jerks for doing this. You took something that was previously tied up, and then you untie it, and then you walked away.
And never were able to touch it again.
Yes. Am I not a Teen Titans Go fan? I love Teen Titans Go just for the humor.
Yeah, it's just a stupid, funny little. It's not Teen Titans. It's Teen Titans Go. It's just funny comedy stuff. It's just to make you laugh. That's got no overarching story. Well, Teen Titans was. I didn't even remember there was a season after the arc. I only remember the arc.
Yeah. There was one last thing that Teen Titans Go that I remember. One of my friends told me that he went to see the movie, like the Teen Titans Go to the movies, and
God.
I'm not sure if this is a real thing that happened, but supposedly in the movie, Robin keeps trying to monologue, and everybody kind of keeps trying to cut him off, like, "Yo, bro, stop it!" You know, nobody wants to hear a speech. But he keeps trying to restart, and they keep cutting him off. And then at one point, he looks into the audience. He goes, "Kids, ask your parents where babies come from." And I was like, "What?"
Oh my god.
I'm like, "Oh my god."
Not gonna lie, Teen Titans Go movie was enjoyable. We've completely gone off what we were originally here for, which was Mothman.
Killer Moth is a villain in Teen Titans, and he is a Mothman. Full circle, baby. Here we are.
Found it. Stick to landing. Let's do it.
But yeah, Killer Moth.
Titans is one of the few things I actually really liked from DC. Though apparently the comics to the show were completely different. Raven isn't supposed to be that moody, like, emo girl. She's supposed to be happy-go-lucky.
As somebody who has, collected some Teen Titans comics in the past, including the original debut of Starfire by George Perez, yeah.
They're supposed to be the opposite, aren't they? Starfire and Raven, basically, they switch their personalities.
Not really. I mean, Starfire's always been kind of like, you know, like a little bit like what she is. That I think for the show they kind of made it like amped her up a lot, to kind of make her into like almost like a foreign exchange student, you know, just to
Yes.
kind of like fit with the narrative that they're teenagers.
Yes, because they're not really
so-
teenagers, if I remember correctly.
Right.
They're young adults.
Yes. And Starfire in the comics is very, very
War hungry.
promiscuous.
She's also a warrior too. She's
Yeah.
so she.
Yeah.
But I remember that was the biggest thing. Raven isn't this like goth queen emo girl. She's like happy-go-lucky, which would make sense since her emotions are tied to her powers, and yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
PA keeps bringing up Full Metal Alchemist, which was a great show.
Yes, Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist, the first one. The first few seasons were really good, and
I
then
know, and then it just like,
Well-
went off in like a weird direction. It's
the
like,
reason
wait, what?
it did is because they surpassed the comic.
I know.
So they were trying to guess, and they got completely wrong. So I
Yes.
like how Brotherhood ended, because it you can tell that that's actually how the writer meant it to be, because it actually makes more sense. And the homunculi, it made sense in the original why they were what they were. That did kind of make sense, but it made more sense in Brotherhood why the homunculi were what
Exactly.
they were. And why
Yes.
the dad was more important than we realize.
Exactly. Yeah. And to answer anime, yes, I do have the OG comic. In fact, I got it signed by George Perez at a convention once. I have a picture of me and him holding the comic up after he had signed it. And also, here's a creepy thing. George Perez, oh my gosh, I went there with my girlfriend at the time. And I was like, George Perez, may I get a picture with you in this comic that you just signed for me? And he says, as long as I get to stand next to the lady. And I was like, sure. So in the picture, he's basically got like his arms around my girlfriend, and I'm standing off to the side holding the comic book up. It's
Yep.
yeah.
Oh my god, that's cringy in its own way. Why is Derringer trying to make everyone hurt? Remember the episode with the little girl and the dog? You know,
Yes.
I find that in the original Fullmetal Alchemist, they made you feel more in that, while I find that Brotherhood was a little more rushed. So if I was going to tell anyone to watch the show, I would tell them to watch the original up to a certain point. I don't know the exact point. And then I'd tell them to stop and go back and watch Brotherhood, even though they're going to rewatch stuff, because you'll get more feels at certain things because it's not as rushed.
Yeah, they really like, let you linger on they let the hurt burn a little more,
They got you to love that little girl more. They got you to love that situation. And same with the very beginning. They got you to like Rose more. They got you to like that city more. Then, yeah. So it wasn't as rushed. Well, I find Brotherhood, everything had more one episode, while Full Metal Alchemist had like 1 or 2 more episodes in there. So it helped you like really dig in and feel it a little better. So yeah, it would be a combination that you have to kind of watch both to get the full feels that you would. Because if I watched Brotherhood, I wouldn't get why everyone feels so bad about the little girl and the dog. Yeah, it was pretty messed up. But if you watch the original, you get it more.
Yeah, because they spent several episodes with them in the original, I think.
Yes, so you got to know them, you got to understand, you got to feel for them, and then everything got swept from under you. While there was more hints in the Brotherhood on exactly what was about to happen to that little girl. So
Right.
it didn't hit you as well.
I think a lot of it was, like, well, we've covered this before, so let's
Yes.
just speed on through this one.
Yes, it's exactly, because most people who watched Brotherhood had watched the original. Because they were real fans. They wanted to see what the original story was. They didn't want to go to Earth in World War II.
Oh, Derringer and anime. I was so confused at what was going on here because Derringer says there was that other episode where the little girl's dad was killed, and then anime responds, "No, he was a great father." And I thought we were still talking about Shao Tucker, the guy who turned his daughter and the dog into a chimera. And it's just, and I was so confused. I was like, no, he wasn't a great father. He turned his daughter into a chimera. But now I'm realizing they're talking about Maze Hughes. And I was like, yes, he was a great
He
father.
was a great father. Why did they have to kill him? I understand.
He was so proud of his daughter. Oh my gosh. He had all the pictures all the time.
Did you see my daughter? This is my daughter. Which, you know what? If I lived in an army and my life was nothing but army, yeah, I'd be clinging to my little beautiful girl and how innocent she was. Because he's seen stuff. I completely get that. The idea of everything. Anyways, we're back to being very off topic about Mothman.
Yeah, Shao was psychotic. Man, a little more than psychotic, I would say. I would go so far as to say that he was barely even human, or human only in form, like Mothman.
Was there any other facts about Mothman or theories that you wanted to talk about?
No, I've completely covered all 6 pages of my notes that I brought with me.
Perfect. So we'll cut here since this is supposed to be about Mothman and not shows that I watched. Which I had a feeling tangents would happen, but that's fine. That's what this is about.
Yeah, of course.
So next week we are back on the 20th. I think it was.
Yes.
We decided
On the 20th of next month. Yes.
Yes. So June 20th, we are doing a creature called the Ogopogo, which is, of course, Silver's gonna make fun of me. It's a Canadian cryptid. But the reason why I'm doing this one over anything else is it's actually from the Okanagan Valley, which is somewhere I actually lived. So I thought it'd be a very interesting idea to try the Ogopogo and dig into something a little more rare than I think most people have heard of. So Mothman was a great one to start with, I personally think. Sorry,
Yeah.
next month. Sorry.
Next month.
Sorry.
Yes.
We will only be doing this once a month due to how much research and everything that needs to happen. So this is a once a month podcast, guys.
Yes.
Sorry, I did I say next week?
You did.
Sorry, next month. So yes, it's called the Ogopogo, and it's actually a pretty interesting creature, and I need to do a little more digging. I remember a few things about it, but I will have to go do my research because I'll be the one telling you guys more about it. Me and Bard will be switching between who does the research and does all the information on it.
That's right, and it will feature a new cryptid drawing by Bard.
Yes.
And Ogopogo, why are you doing the danger archetype? Yes, we are. He's.
Yes, yeah, you told me about that.
Yes, that's right. So Mothman happens to be in that one too. But so yes, next month, new cryptid. We're discussing Ogopogo. 42 will take the lead on it, and there will be a new Bard drawing.
Yes. So our idea for this podcast is Bard will do a drawing for each one, which just makes it easier in all ways around. We will be switching between who does the major research on it, so it just gives us a little more relaxed time, I guess. I don't know, it just makes it easier on both of us. So
yeah, a little bit.
So yeah, this is kind of how we're going to be doing things. Nothing like super like strict. It's just, basically two friends talking about cryptids with people watching.
And then the shows that they like.
Apparently. Tangents, they're great.
Yeah, I know. They're fantastic.
So, let me just go to my themagy. There we go. All right. So, I'm going to call it here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our podcast live stream thingamajiggy. I don't know what to call it. Our show.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming to our show.
We will see you guys June 20th.
All right. Adios, everybody.
Hold on. Once you join the collective, you can leave nevermore.
Nevermore.
From the trend.